Draft week, everybody. On today's show, we're going to be looking at some headlines. Kind of a busy weekend for headlines across Nuggets Nation.
Should be an interesting week.
I think it will be. We're also going to do 2 draft profiles, one on Shireman, one on Bonna. Did I say that right?
Not Shireman.
Oh, you're right. I left it open. Then we're going to worst case and best case scenarios for the offseason. This is the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Oh, baby. Draft week. Man, listen to you guys. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show.
Let's go.
D-line, please come back fast. We, guys, have a packed show for you because it was kind of a packed weekend for the Nuggets. I was surprised at how much. I thought this would be the calm before the storm. Actually, as I go through these headlines, they're all not that big a deal, but they're still fun to talk about.
Did anything unexpected actually happen?
Not at all, but there were some tweets. There were some Instagram posts. There were some things to talk about. Over here, Brendan Votes in the house.
What's up, gang? It's that week, man. It's draft week, and we've got a couple of tricks up our sleeve this week. Excited for the draft guide dropping soon, and excited for the live draft show on Wednesday that everyone can come take part in and watch live in the DNVR bar.
We already got a bunch of people signed up, but we still have spaces available, including tables available. So you're going to want to sign up on the events page of the DNVR.com. We're going to have a reaction cam. So every pick, it doesn't even have to be the Nuggets pick. You can boo. In fact, that's what should happen. Every pick besides the Nuggets, just boo it.
No matter
and
what.
And be like, wow, the
you
bar.
can cheer, too, if you really like the pick.
They're like, actually,
you're free to cheer.
That was a great pick for the Utah Jazz. I really like it. Like,
Good combination of fit and best
Danny
available.
Ainge really identifies the right kind of talent in that middle of the first
felt
round
bad
range.
even to joke about. And then over here, Harrison Wind.
Like Vote said, our draft guide dropping immediately after the show.
First ever DNVR Nuggets draft guide.
54 prospects are listed in the draft guide, ranked 1 through 54, as well as my 5 favorite targets for the Nuggets. Also some other names to watch. Maybe a little bit of intel in there, who the Nuggets might like, who we like. Our first draft guide.
I really love this product. One, it features the writing of all 3 of us. It features the artwork of D-Line and Kale. And it has these cool icons that kind of tell you about the players. So you can just skim it or you can deep dive in it. It's really cool. And then, of course, everything through a Nuggets lens. That drops when? Right when the show ends.
And it also tells you, who in this draft is a Michael Malone guy.
That's right.
Who in this draft is a Calvin Booth guy.
That's
who
right.
is a Jokic ball type of player. So it's easy to go through and identify, what prospects to maybe pay attention to.
Not a ton of overlap between the Booth guys and the Malone guys. Just different categories.
I don't think you can be a Booth guy and a Malone guy. I don't think so.
Also, for diehards only, so another reason to become a diehard. You guys know the deal. It supports us, and you get all of our content. We are going to be having more and more content for diehards only with some bigger projects like this, the draft guide, season preview, that kind of stuff. So become a diehard. You also get a free shirt. Could be this one. All the Nuggets are good. Let's get into some headlines. Guys, did you see the news? Nikola Jokic has arrived for camp with Team Serbia. And, man, this happens every year for the NBA season. Guys back in town and you get all excited. You guys see Jamal Murray's back in the gym. I saw him working out with Vlatko or whatever. Yeah. I had this exact sensation when I saw this today. Yoke walking in, first of all, weirdest walk-in to Team Hotel. Somehow there's like 30 reporters there taking the most awkward photos you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Did you see this video?
Real TMZ vibes.
Very TMZ vibes, but I got to say, man, seeing him walk in and dap up Bogey.
Yeah.
Micic. I just kind of got super pumped. I was like super pumped seeing that today.
It was a very all right, the job is about to start vibes. Like first day of work.
Oh, Yoke looked miserable.
Yeah, I mean, as you would expect.
That's how he shows up to work.
Yeah, he's clocking in for his job. Although a job I think he might hold to there's a little more excitement maybe in this job than his actual NBA job. But no, I can't wait to watch him. I can't wait to watch Serbia. Everybody knows I'm rooting for Serbia. I don't care about Team USA.
Everybody knows.
I'm rooting for Serbia, then Slovenia, then Canada. That's how my allegiances are ranking in this Olympics, and I can't wait.
Would you guess that the training facility for this is better or worse than the Nuggets' training facility?
Well, do you think there are 2 full courts?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I'm going to say better.
Yeah, last week Yoke was training on the outdoor court that we played on.
I think that was a old
That's where you
video.
learned the game, man.
Funny.
Listen, I don't
comment,
know. There are basketball facilities out there. Yoke probably built one, had one built, so sure.
What would you feel when you saw this? Were you as pumped as me? Is it just me? Am I just missing Yoke?
Yeah, we always are, and we thought we'd be seeing him play into this month, and we didn't get to. But I think we've been looking forward to this one for a long time.
Olympics.
And to be getting closer, it's fun, man. It's exciting, and we've talked about it a bunch. It's a big one for Jokic if he chooses to approach it that way. There's plenty on his shoulders and plenty of pressure here in terms of his international legacy, his national team legacy. I'm excited, man. I miss the big fella.
Looks good too.
Did he?
Muscle Watch 2024 is officially underway. I thought he looked good. The other piece of news, Reggie Jackson picked up his player option. No surprise there. It was a shocking amount of money last summer.
I don't think anybody was going to pay him $5 million a year in free agency.
Nobody was, but just any notes on this?
Well, it was an expected move. I think the Nuggets expected this to happen. Everybody pretty much did. And look, I think, if I was running the Nuggets, I would definitely try to trade Reggie Jackson this summer. Just feels like the Nuggets need a change of scenery from him at that point guard spot, whether it's Jalen Pickett, whether it's bringing in a different veteran. And, now that he's picked up the option, Denver has another contract that's tradable. Now, it's not like if he declined the option, Denver would be able to sign somebody for $5 million. That's not how it works. So, if the Nuggets do want to trade him, they have $5 million, to go out and get somebody.
Yeah, this is where the contract they did give Reggie kind of comes full circle to.
You hope.
Well, that's a great point. You hope in terms of what it looks like. At first, you're just like, man, that seems like more than necessary. But in theory, it's a tradable piece now. So it seems to make sense to me. And again, I don't think Reggie did a horrible job last year. No. I think you want a better plan A than that. And it helps that this is, in theory, a tradable contract and maybe one that can be included in a larger package to help bring someone more impactful back.
It is funny that we're just assuming he's traded. And again, I think it makes all the sense. But it is a little bit like the traded player exception. When every team, you're like, oh, man, they have a $20 million traded player exception. And they're like, that'll come in handy.
Yeah, sure.
Never.
Yeah. I mean, look, I could talk myself into a scenario where he does come back.
Oh, no.
But it's very clear, Adam. It's made very, very clear that
plays all 82 games.
He's not going to play all 82 games. Because actually, if you look at, his minutes in the playoffs when he was playing like 10 minutes a game, not bad. Wasn't bad.
Okay.
It's true.
He was overused during the regular season. We all knew that.
Yeah.
He was played too many minutes, played too many games. He has too many miles on him, and I don't think his body is in the type of condition to play as much as he did. He just can't be effective like that. So if they can't trade him, and he was brought back, but it was made very clear that this is Jalen Pickett's job to lose, and we are not playing him in 82 games. He's going to have a reduced role. I could talk myself into that. That's not what I would prefer to happen, but I don't think it'd be the end of the world.
It's also mock draft. Oh, by the way, Vlatko Cancar opted out. This was another deal that we kind of prepared you for. I should say Jake Coyne on the show kind of prepared all Nuggets Nation for. Nuggets opt out of the team option. So Vlatko Cancar of this moment, no longer a Denver Nugget.
Correct.
But could become a Denver Nugget at any point this summer. It doesn't even have to be right away. It could be at any point this summer.
Yeah.
They could re-sign him to a deal that would help the Nuggets and Vlatko.
And in fact, according to Tony Jones of The Athletic, they've already started working towards that new deal.
So a pretty short conversation. I'm sure that.
Do you want a veteran minimum to come back?
Look, you don't decline Vlatko Chanchar's option, a team option on a minimum contract if you don't plan on bringing him back.
Right.
Like, I'm sure this is already worked out. If they thought there was a risk of losing him, you would have just picked up the option.
Right.
So I'm sure it's already agreed upon that, he's coming back on a vet minimum. And
It's not like a team has never miscalculated this, though, by the way.
Sure.
And sometimes in high-profile situations, Carlos Boozer was a major one of these. Let out of the Cavs contract, handshake agreement to just re-sign him to a new one, goes to Utah Jazz.
Right. That stuff can happen, but
He's not
if
Carlos
the
Boozer.
Nuggets were thinking they were going to lose him, they probably would have just waived him last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vlatko, respectfully, not a player that probably has a lot of under-the-table deals lined up.
Can
with
you
other
imagine?
suitors.
Except with the Dallas Mavericks.
Hey, shut your filthy mouth.
What?
It's also
Just
mock
kidding.
draft season in the NBA, you guys. And Jonathan Gavoni at ESPN.com, also Draft Express, usually one of the more reputable mock drafters. He's plugged in. He knows everything that's going on. Here we are, 48 hours away from the draft. And what do you know? De'Ron Holmes still mocked to Denver.
Shocker.
It is a shocker, though, a little bit, because there'd been a lot of momentum of him going sooner than that. I have heard, still up in the air, about whether or not he'll even be available there. And I'm not just talking to sources, draft sources, everybody around. There is a lot of buzz about teams, maybe at 23, maybe at 25, being interested in him. But what do you make of this? De'Ron Holmes still being mocked to the Nuggets of the top mock draft.
Yeah, well, he's still being talked about like he's a lock to go to Denver, and they reportedly promised him, which I don't believe actually happened. But I do believe there's legit interest there. And I do think if he fell to 28, I think that's a pick that the Nuggets would run up to the podium and make as quick as they could. Like, if he is available at 28, I think that's a guy the Nuggets would definitely think very hard about taking.
I already know how this is going to go, Vote. I already know. He will be available there. They won't take him. I just feel like
Why? Why do you think that?
Because it's never been more obvious. Like, every signal is this, and it's just
totally.
like...
I mean, I think there's definitely been some, misdirection from the Nuggets here with it, for sure.
Maybe.
Because it can't be this obvious.
That's what I'm saying. This obvious. Like, I always go back to the Nemhard one, which was the best switcheroo they pulled on everybody. This one to me is even more. Like, it almost feels like if this was misdirection, it'd almost be sick misdirection. Like, they're playing their own game here where they think it's so hilarious.
I was also thinking about that particular misdirection. I'm like, sometimes that comes all the way around to bite you, too.
Oh, Nemhard looks awesome.
By the way, would have been a great pick. Not that but, I you can talk yourself into either one here. It's there because that actually is, in fact, their preference, and they've told everyone, or it's a little too easy right now.
Yeah.
So, I'm of both minds of it. But the thing is, he's a really decent pick in that range.
He's
So
a great pick if you can get him at 28.
At 28. So it's not far-fetched.
A couple other little house cleaning news, not necessarily Nuggets related, but Scotty Barnes reportedly is intends to sign a 5-year, $270 million max contract. The only reason I bring it up is because I love Scotty Barnes. I really like him. Yeah. But it's a classic scenario of he just happens to be the best player on a team that is still figuring out who and what they are. $270 million for Scotty Barnes is like, even as a guy who loves him as much as anyone, I just think, like, what is that? I think that's a crazy max.
It's a bad contract if you're trying to win a championship. That's what it is. I mean,
but you also have to do it.
You do have to do it. We talked about this last week. Scotty Barnes fits in the next Aaron Gordon type of player conversation, but the Nuggets can't be paying Aaron Gordon a max deal and trying to win a championship. Look, I feel like a trend this summer is going to be a lot of playoff teams and contending teams being very scared by the second apron and trimming money. And it's going to be very hard to, in the future, not saying the Nuggets should necessarily pivot from this right now, but in the future, I think it's going to be very hard for teams to have 3 max contracts. And Scotty Barnes, I don't think he can be your number 1 or number 2 best player on a championship team.
Can he be number 2?
I don't think so.
He's close.
The problem
You're
is
probably right,
when you're a
though. I don't
non-free
know.
agent destination, which even Toronto still, I mean, Toronto has more juice than other, I think, destinations that are grouped there, but it's, you have to pay these guys. Like, if you draft someone and you like them, you pay them early, and if you don't, it's just a clock on them getting disgruntled and asking out, or you eventually losing them. And so it's a tough place to be in, I think.
But
Tough
then
spot.
again, in 4 years when this contract is winding down, and maybe by then Toronto is looking at itself as a contender type.
You trade him for
Well, or the contract just doesn't look as bad.
That's right.
Right.
The new television deal is actually $100 trillion.
Exactly.
and
Every max
270
contract
million
or
is a
free agent
minimum.
contract that comes in this summer,
Yeah.
it looks its worst in year one.
Yeah.
That's
Then it
true.
looks
Always
better
true.
and better and better. This is how I've been trying to think of the KCP thing as well.
Right.
This is as bad as the Scotty Barnes contract is going to work. So maybe when they're actually good, it's not going to be as bad.
That's a good point.
I think it's really hard to build any team worth its salt and not have a bad contract. Like, I just think at some point in the process, you have to do that, where you're either doubling down or taking a gamble on someone that you think is part of the foundation or puts you over the top. And it's really, really hard to have a perfect cap sheet.
It'd be so fascinating to do a case study of organic through the draft contenders where the best player was not the first guy in.
Sure.
I just wonder if there's like great examples of that, because I feel like having your best guy be the first guy is so important. Scotty Barnes, I just don't think anybody thinks he can be the best guy.
Right.
And that's where we're at.
Sam Vecini of The Athletic released a new mock draft as well.
Okay.
Deron Holmes to the Nuggets.
I'm telling you, I give it.
Nice change
Now,
of
some of
pace.
there is like the same intel.
Yes.
The front offices are telling everybody this is our line, and then some of it is they're just talking to each other, like the same agents. They're all.
It's hard enough to fill out a mock draft. The second you get any hint or clue, you're like, that works.
That works.
Do you
Okay.
guys think that Nikola Jokic will give up his number 15 jersey to Deron Holmes, who also wears 15?
That
It'd
would
be
be
an epic move if he did.
the most Jokic
It would actually be the most
of all
epic move if this whole like Carmelo Jokic thing, and it was like, hey, it's Teron Holmes now. I'm just 16. I actually don't care.
He
like-
said he really wanted it, so I gave it to him.
Like, is 34 available?
I
What?
didn't even realize I was 15. Oh, wow. The last piece of news here, Kenny Atkinson hired as the Cleveland Cavaliers coach. Not the biggest news. What didn't make as big of a splash as J.J. Redick.
Well, I think I liked
They
Wynn's
kind of
angle
look
on
similar.
it. I like Wynn's angle on it on
Similar
Twitter,
look.
which is that another round of interviews, and our boy David Adelman still in our sweet city.
Oh, thank God.
Teams are so stupid, man.
Oh, thank God.
Why has a team not hired David Adelman? I'm telling you, I think he could be a star. He could be a Mark Daignault type of coach.
Wow.
You think that good?
He's an offensive genius, man. David Adelman.
And he's still
Nikola
in Denver.
Jokic, Jamal Murray, they swear
Aaron
by
Gordon.
him. How are teams so stupid? He's the son of a legendary coach as well. He's got the bloodline.
I do think amazing.
It's a little early for the horse racing, conversation.
That said, I think Kenny Atkinson's probably a good hire. But I'm happy David Adelman is still in Denver.
I
so
like
it's a huge
Atkinson
W
a
for
lot.
the Nuggets.
I like Atkinson a lot, but I do agree with you that our David Adelman. I will tell you this though: we just talked a lot about Michael Malone's future is less certain come this next year than ever, and maybe Adelman sees that. Like if you're Adelman, the best head coaching job for you is probably the Denver Nuggets.
True.
And there is always a world where you're like, well, things go south. I just move up a spot, probably.
Right. Probably not the highest paying job, but the best job.
You don't have to move though.
Is it still tier A?
Moving sucks, man.
Or is it still S tier?
I think it's S tier
Yeah,
for
I think,
sure.
I think so too.
Let's take a break. On the other side, Tristan Newton, Draft Twitter's favorite child. Also, Adam Bonna. I wouldn't mind getting an Adam on the Nuggets.
I knew you'd say that.
Slightly different spelling.
Dude, what a tease.
But first, I'm going to go drink a protein shake. That's right. The DNVR bar now serves protein shakes.
Wait, they should bring it up here.
Well, it is. They just, bitch, he didn't know.
Oh, it's over there on the counter.
Enjoy it,
Okay.
dude.
All right. Bring that over to the set. Guys, check out Westera Credit Union, founded in 1934 right here in Colorado with 9 locations. There he is, bringing the protein shake back to the set.
Look at the size of the shake.
That's a
That's a lot of protein.
somewhat standard size shake, I think.
A protein shake this big?
That doesn't seem that big.
Tip, does this seem like a lot of a protein
It doesn't
shake?
seem
No?
like a normal glass.
I think a protein shake, it's usually... All right.
I'm with Wynn. I think that's a big protein shake.
No, Adam thinks. it's a
Oh,
big
you think it's
protein.
big?
Yeah.
I should
change
listen.
whether you're with me or not.
No.
Westera
Still with Wynn.
Credit Union, they're all about helping members financially prosper. Education is their thing. They are actually started by a group of 8 school teachers. Helping others is in their DNA. They just launched an awesome new product, Smart Money Checking. Meet the checking account designed to help you earn unheard of interest on smaller balances with other great perks. You can earn up to 6% annual percentage yield on your first $2,000 each month.
Making me want a smoothie.
If you like earning money, that's a lot of protein shakes. If you like earning money by doing the things you're already doing with your checking account, visit withsterascu.com/smartmoney for more details. Membership eligibility required, insured by NCUA. Restrictions and conditions apply.
If you like winning money, you should download Bet365, where they don't do ordinary. They believe every sport should be epic. Right now, they can be. Like the Stanley Cup, man. For everyone who got excited about Dallas, I don't know if you're paying attention to our the occasional arena brethren on the ice, the hockey folk. They've got a 3-0 comeback potentially in the making here at Game 7. That might be something that you could have some fun betting on.
This is potentially the worst choke in all of sports history.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
I saw a great tweet today that the Florida Panthers Twitter hasn't tweeted about the series in like 3 days.
I wouldn't.
They've just left it.
I would not.
I think I might be going for Florida. I think it's funny that Canada can't win hockey.
Regardless, you can bet on that, whatever your
Florida
angle
can.
And
is.
Florida can't. They're like, we don't even like this
Whatever
sport.
your angle is, you can find it at Bet365 or bet on these NBA futures because it's future season, baby. But here's what you need to know. Right now, new customers can choose between 2 offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Deposit $10. Choose between either a bet and get offer, place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you received a matched refund in bonus bets? How neat is that? You have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Back here, segment 2.
How's the shake?
It's good. I was drinking it very quickly. I got a lot of
You're
protein in
almost
me
done
right
with
now.
it.
Tristan Newton. I hear this name a lot. Look into him. I get a little excited. There's some things there to get excited about. Walk me through them.
Yeah. There's a lot to get excited about with Tristan Newton. Projected 2nd-round pick. So I don't think he's a first-round guy. He's somebody to keep in mind in the 2nd round. The Nuggets hold the 56th overall pick as well. Maybe he's a potential guy there. He seems like a Calvin Booth type of guy. 23 years old, 5th-year senior, and he's a winner.
You're not giving away the Booth icon on the draft guide, are you?
I might be giving
You might have.
away
You just said he was a
little
Booth
bit.
guy. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a little freebie for you.
2-time NCAA champion. He was the point guard on UConn these last couple years.
Winners.
He is an absolute winner.
That is a Booth trait.
And, this last year, he was the point guard, the captain, the floor general for the best team in the nation, the best offense in the nation. And he's a 6'6" point guard. Like I said, 23 years old, experienced. This last season at UConn, let me bring up his averages right here. 15 points per game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. He's a great defender.
Great, yeah.
Especially with that frame and the wingspan and the height and the length. He's, a potential like above average to borderline elite defensive option, like a Chris Dunn type on the defensive end of the floor.
You think he's that good defensively?
I mean, we'll see, but I feel like he'll come into the league where his defense is better than his offense.
Yeah, oh, for sure. But I just didn't know if he... I didn't know of what I've seen of him that I would call him like a lockdown guy.
Right. He's not maybe like a lockdown all-NBA guy, but a very good defender, I think.
Right.
Very good defender. A guy who you look at, you maybe think defense. And, offensively, 15 points a game, like I said, he can still score it.
Right.
Very good around the rim in the paint. Only shot 32% from 3. There's some question marks about his shot and just his overall individual offense. But seems like he'd be a really good pick in the 2nd round. And again, I've said, in the lead up to the draft, I feel like it'd be kind of crazy for the Nuggets to take a point guard. That's in the 1st round. In the 2nd round, 56th overall, who really cares? You just take a guy that you think might hit. So I think Tristan Newton might hit. I like him. I'm a fan. And he seems like he could be a type of Nuggets draft pick based on what they've done in recent years.
Love the idea of a guy who is coming out of one of the great cultures in college basketball right now and with the great coaches as well. And whenever I think about second round guards, I think about Monte. Like, it's not impossible to find a guy that long term can help the team a little bit that late in the draft. So it's not to say that this is necessarily a Monte player. It's just you can do it. Like, when you're scraping from the has some upside doubts because he's not an explosive, like, self-creator kind of guy, but they come from a winning program where they succeeded. I think there's something to mine there. I think there's value and talent there, and so I'm interested. And look, I mean, especially if KCP leaves, not that this guy's in the rotation right away, but you want some defensive options there too, because you quickly run out of them on this roster. So there's a ton of intrigue here for a second round flyer. I certainly would not be upset if it worked out that way.
Tristan Newton definitely has a lot of the traits to be a my guys type of player.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's a lot of things that have to happen on a basketball, in any given basketball possession. The loud ones, scoring the ball, entering the ball, handling the ball, these types of things, they're obvious. But the other things are just as important, and they change from possession to possession. Sometimes, like, the guy needed to screen. He needed to cut through here. He needed to find the seam for the offensive rebound, whatever it is. He seems to be a guy that can do all of those. So check the big boxes. Okay, those are checked. Now you need a bunch of people to check the little boxes. He's a guy that just seems to always check the little boxes in a possession. And that's why I really like his game a lot. Like, I love this dude. And you said he was a Malone guy or Booth guy? Booth guy. I actually think he's a Jokic guy. I think he's a guy like Christian Brown that is going to look great in all of the minutes he would share with Jokic, because he naturally understands, the big boxes are checked. What are the little boxes on any given possession? And they could be a wide range of skills, and he can check all of those. The reason I don't like him is that we keep talking about the Nuggets and how they just lack any type of downhill dribble penetration quick guys. He's another below the net finisher.
Yeah.
He's a good finisher, but he's a below the net finisher, and he is, like, not a guy that's going to, oh my God, he just collapsed the defense and got the ball to Jokic against the so I look at that and I go, as much as I love this dude, him and Pickett have the same weakness, in my opinion, or one of the same key weaknesses. And it would be a similar situation as Colin last year, where it's like, hey, we're putting another guy who's a guard position on a two-way, but you know what? Malone might like the two-way guy a lot more than he likes the Pickett guy. So I love Tristan Newton, and I actually would be fine with Denver using their second pick on him. I actually would be pumped if they did.
Yeah.
I'm really into him. I just foresee there being real obstacles to his long-term future in Denver because of that dynamic.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. But to some of your earlier points, other stuff you really like about him is he knows how to play next to really good players.
Yep.
Right.
Because at UConn, there's been a lot of talent coming through those doors over the last couple of years. A lot of first-round picks. This last year, he shared the floor with Stephon Castle, potential top 5 pick as a one-and-done guy. They had Cam Spencer, a scorer. They had other shooters all over the floor. Donovan Clingan. They played a pro-style, NBA-style offense. It's not hard to see how he could easily translate to the NBA game. And also, he's a connector type.
Yeah.
I don't think Tristan Newton, while he was one of the best players on UConn, he probably knows he's not going to be a top option on an NBA team. And you slot him next to a couple of the Nuggets' other high-usage offensive guys, and I feel like he'd fit in great as a connector type.
And that's exactly it, as a connector type. I love this dude. By the way, analytics darling. 10.4, I believe, box plus minus. And I'm not that these things mean everything, but they do mean something.
Yeah.
And I'm a guy that looks at that and I go, those connector pieces, man, are so important, especially on a good team. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he went to a bigger school and looked better.
Yep.
That doesn't happen all the time. A lot of times, this guy shined at a small school, went to the big one. Now he's a fish out of water, doesn't fit in. This guy was like a better player for that. I actually really like him.
I really like him too.
I think I'm in on this dude. Yeah. Again, as a later pick. What about if Denver were to trade back? Because that's a scenario. Maybe all their guys they liked, Holmes, whatever, they're gone. You're at 28, and you can move down to, let's say, 35.
Again, it's just the thing about coming out of this draft and the top guy you picked a point guard. That's just tough for me.
Yeah.
It's tough for me. If you don't trade Jalen Pickett, if you're done with Jalen Pickett, then you need another point guard in the pipeline. Then I'm fine with it. But if you roll into next season with Pickett and Newton, or Pickett and AJ Mitchell, was it? The UC Santa Barbara point guard. Like,
AJ Mitchell, like him, yeah.
If you pick a point guard as one of your first guys in this draft and just try to pigeonhole him into the rotation in some way, I just don't see it working out, kind of like it didn't work out this year. It's tough. I feel like in that scenario, you need the other guy to be a veteran next to Pickett.
You know who this guy actually kind of has a little to his game is Josh Hart. Just in that, Josh Hart is the ultimate small box checker. He checks all the small boxes. He does that as well. They're different style players, but I just mean, he rebounds really well. That's another skill set that he has from the guard spot.
He does everything pretty well.
Yeah.
Except 3-point shooting.
Yeah, and he's not. Some of these guys we've talked about as guys that I think, even Dunn, that I think can become a better shooter. He's one that I think is probably not. That's not going to be a strength of his.
Probably.
Although he might be a catch and shoot guy. I saw some of the numbers on
his
catch
free
and shoot
throw shooting's good, so there's hope there for sure.
Well, there you go. All right, let's get to the other guy.
Adam Bonna.
I love this guy.
Big surprise.
Adam.
So Bona's got a real interesting story. Grew up and was born in Nigeria. Youngest of 5 children. Grew up playing soccer. Was a midfielder. Switched to basketball due to his height. He, eventually came to the States. He's played 2 seasons at UCLA. This last year, 12.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 1.8 blocks. Shot 59% from the floor, 0% from 3. He is not a 3-point shooter, but he is a center, and he is a defender, rebounder, hustle player. And I think there's a lot to like here. 6'9", 6'10". This last season, first team All Pac-12, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, made the Pac-12 All Defensive Team the last 2 seasons. Pretty highly coveted as well. Was a McDonald's All-American before that. But he honestly looks like he's not Ben Wallace, but that's the type of role he plays. A little undersized at center, but he's an absolute monster defensively. Blocking shots, rebounding, getting on the glass, making hustle plays. Also plays really hard, has a great motor, is really physical. And he's a total culture type of pick. He's an energy shifter if he was to come off your bench at backup center.
Is there any role he plays the dunker?
He's likely a second-round pick. Yeah, he could, but he's not an offensive type of player. Doesn't really have a jumper, not a 3-point shooter.
He's a dunker spot guy.
Yeah, he's an around the rim type of guy.
How does he guard the perimeter?
Decent, but I don't think he's a surefire switch guy either.
Okay. What do you think?
Definitely more of an interior presence.
I do think the equation changes when you're drafting that late. So it's just sort of, none of these guys are going to be slam dunks. You just find that, again, we've talked about how they lack some juice. They lack athleticism, finishers at the rim or rim protectors. So you could talk yourself into the strengths for sure. And I think when you're in the final 20 picks, these are just flyers, man. You're probably going to be wrong anyway.
Right.
So it's hard to even really kind of be out on these guys, But yeah, I think if from the perspective of they lacked a little juice athletically, and some playmakers of that type, at the rim protection, yeah, it's intriguing.
One of the things I love about this dude, he is a total throwback, oversized T-shirt under the jersey guy.
Oh yeah, love it.
That's one of my
Headband,
favorite
too.
looks, and a headband. You're right. He looks like he's right out of the '90s.
Jumped 40 inches for his vertical at the combine.
Sweet,
ridiculous athlete.
6'10" with a 40-inch vert.
Yeah, and he's also got a 7-foot plus wingspan.
That's just not the same species as me. I'm a different person. I'm not.
I'm intrigued by this guy. I'll put him on my list of the second. There's a handful of guys in that second, because basically an undrafted player at 57.
Right, and Bona's probably going to get picked beginning to middle of the second round, it seems like.
Is he a trade back candidate?
Probably. He's not a guy I think you take at 28, unless you just love him. I haven't seen him really mocked there that
Mugbo
much.
or him or Bonna?
I might take Bonna.
Do you have a preference there? Not really.
Bonna, sure.
I like Mugbo, man. I like his skill set, his silly skill set. All right, those are two players. Pretty interesting. Honestly, both of them very intriguing for that second spot, which I think is also a very compelling spot for Denver to be in with that second pick. So good names there. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, let's talk about the worst case scenario for the Nuggets this year in the offseason. But then we'll do the best.
Guys, trucks, they've always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends destined for greatness, perfect for Colorado. A Toyota, if you don't know, the official vehicle of DNVR. We're right here in the Toyota Lounge. And, they've brought back a legendary, iconic truck of theirs, the 2024 Land Cruiser. You can get that from Toyota. You can get the 2024 Tacoma as well. They actually offer 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, like the Epic 4Runner. They also offer more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker. 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from,
Land Cruiser
like
is
the
such a
Tundra
cool-looking
iForce
car.
Max hybrid truck.
That
SUVs,
looks fun to
cars,
drive.
trucks, whatever it might be, they've got it. The RAV4, the Grand Highlander. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota in Arapahoe in Centennial. Corwin Toyota in Boulder. Groove Toyota in Littleton. Mountain States Toyota in Denver. Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora. Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets, the official vehicle of DNVR.
You guys should Google the 2024 Land Cruiser. It is such a gorgeous car.
Iconic.
It really is,
Someone
man.
said.
Here's the plan. You go buy a
It
new
is really
Toyota.
sick.
You go pick up all the boys to show it off, all the fellas, and you
man.
bring them to Illegal Pete's.
Oh my goodness,
The
this is the
place-
best day ever.
It's the place where you bring your buddies if you're trying to hang out with buddies, have some burritos and some beer. And Boulder, Colorado, now you too have a friend in the burrito business. Illegal Pete's Table Mesa location is open today. Swing by and join the festivities with live music, endless margs, and of course, all your favorite burrito fixings. Located just
gonna get
off
one?
campus. Oh, that's going to be such a great hang for you campus folks too. Stop by to be a part of this historical Illegal Pete's moment. It's patio season, folks, and some of my favorite patios in all of Denver are right outside of Illegal Pete's, my go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
23 miles per gallon on the 2024 Land Cruiser.
Man, have you seen the interior too? The upgraded interior.
25 miles per hour. Or
Look at this.
25 miles per gallon on the highway.
That's pretty sick.
Tell me,
That's
man.
pretty sweet, brother.
It's like a Lexus on the inside, and then
That's
it just kicks
pretty
ass on the
sweet.
trail. It's unbelievable. All right, guys. I promise we got to start low. Whenever somebody says, I have good news and bad news, which one do you want first? What do you usually go to?
Probably bad news.
Because you want to end on the good news. You want to be
Yeah.
restored at the end. So we're going to do worst case scenario for the Nuggets here. Worst case scenario. Oh, I see you made this graph. I didn't even send this to you, Tiff. Thank you so much.
I just,
Yeah, there you go. Just put a little something together. I'll start things off here, guys, and feel free to add.
is that 5 or?
I think this is number one. We're going to in order. Number one is you lose KCP. I just am not going to feel settled if the Nuggets lose KCP. And I'll tell you what, it'd be even worse if he went somewhere I really don't want him to go, like a Philadelphia. So to me, it all starts here. Like, there are people, smart people, who disagree with me on this, that think that it wouldn't be the worst if KCP lost. I kind of feel like it would.
You can talk yourself into KCP maybe being slightly overrated or non-essential after that playoff series where he too didn't look very good.
Yeah.
But that's a different conversation than what are your options if he leaves. Because if he leaves, I don't think you're in a great spot to improve. And the one thing he does so well, I shouldn't just say the one thing, there are several things he does well: screen navigation and just willingness to work and eat innings throughout the regular season against some of the best perimeter players in the league. Like, if he's gone, a couple of things change pretty quickly for Denver. So yeah, I'm with you that they can't lose him.
Yeah, I think it'd be a massive loss. KCP played 2,400 minutes last year. That's the third most on the Nuggets, 42nd most in the league. That's just a ton of minutes to replace.
Yeah.
2,400 minutes
Yeah.
in the regular season. 76 games playing starter level minutes. Yeah, I think it'd be I'm not going to say disaster because I think the Nuggets can recover from it and still win a championship if they lose KCP. I still think that would be on the table. But it'd make their road to a championship significantly tougher, I think. It'd make them a worse team, I believe, in a playoff setting.
I have a hard time imagining them being a better team next season than they were this last season if you told me they lost KCP.
Totally.
I just have such a hard time with that. And then the other part of this is, again, why do we cover sports? We always try to be logical. We're just building the best team. But there's also something to best team as in the best experience for me personally. KCP is one of the guys, man. And I know we've been through this before with other players we love. They lose it like Gary Harris. And you're like, I don't know. He is the Nugget. Then you move on. You're like, you know what? Things are kind of fine.
Right.
But KCP to me is probably pushing the limit of what that would feel like. I mean, the same is true with Jamal Murray, by the way. As mad as you can be at Jamal Murray for his approach this year or how he flamed out in the playoffs, it still feels like he's our guy.
Absolutely, man. And it's been interesting. A lot of the reporting out there is like pretty much open and shut that KCP's gone. Do you get the sense that that's how the reporting is being framed as well?
Yes. Yes, but I don't think it's totally true. I just think it's very likely true.
I agree. I don't think it's true because
Orlando, Philadelphia.
Yeah, because a lot of the, big newsbreakers out there are like reporting, he's going to be available. He could go to Philly with the cap space or Orlando with the cap space. And I don't think they're getting that from the Nuggets.
Yeah.
They're not talking to Calvin Booth and he's telling them that. I don't think that's how Calvin Booth operates. They're talking to those other teams and they're expecting, to be able to put an offer in on KCP.
Right.
So I don't know how it's going to turn out yet. It certainly feels like the chances of him returning are dwindling.
Yeah.
As we get closer to free agency beginning, he's going to turn down his player option. He's going to become a free agent. And it's weird because, I don't feel like the Nuggets are scared of the second apron and don't want to go into the second apron. It almost feels like if they lose him to, a big contract, it's that they view that it's not going to be worth it to keep him on that deal. That's how I think they would view it.
Right.
Yeah. But I do think there has also been some misframing of it. Like some people have said, a la the Bruce Brown situation, and it's not the Bruce Brown situation.
That one they literally couldn't do.
It's not the Bruce Brown situation.
Denver.
If they lose him, it's not the Cronkies being cheap. I think they would pay him if the front office sold to them that it was the right thing to pay him.
It'd be on Booth, you think?
I think it's a front office decision. He's either worth it or he's not worth it.
I think he's worth it, and I'm going to be very nervous when and if they lose him.
I think he's worth it too.
Oh, there's got to be a fat enough 1+1 where you're not worried about 5 years from now or 4 years from now, but you can pay him.
What's the second? I'm going to go to you, Vote. What's the second worst case scenario thing here? I have a clear one, but I'm curious what yours is. I didn't want to give it out too quickly.
They don't trade Reggie.
I had don't trade Zeke. Because I think just because it's more money. Reggie comes back. Can I talk myself into Malone? Okay, he's not going to play. He really is going to start out as the third stringer or whatever. You could trade him later in the year. Zeke to me is the guy that if that dude shows up to training camp next year, it's like, what the hell is going on?
Adam, he had a great summer.
Oh, God.
You're right.
Make it stop.
Have you seen the transformation?
Oh, no. Oh, if we don't trade Zeke, man.
I just can't go through the whole song and dance again.
Him and Malone had a really good meeting this summer. They're on the same
start
page.
The year as the backup center, and wow, the 3-point shot, it's coming along.
The shot, it really had to rebuild it from the
Do you guys
start.
remember
Takes time.
2 years ago?
Have you seen him in DHOs?
How about this one? Here's the thing. He is not a center. We've been playing him at center. This year we're going to play him at forward.
I can't do it.
And we're sending him to Vegas. He's going to get some.
No, explore the game. We're going to explore the game.
I can't do it.
True.
Man.
Yes or no? Zeke is a. Never mind.
No.
Never mind.
To me, it's the clear number 2. You just have to find a way to get rid of, to trade Zeke. And by the way, I don't think you have to do it at all costs. I'm just saying that a successful offseason would probably include, Zeke, they got rid of him, and that was a good deal. Didn't cost a ton of assets. Maybe you even get back a piece that you're like, hey, who knows? What would be third? Wind?
Well, you got to think about Reggie potentially coming back in a similar role. That'd be pretty bad.
That's
I feel
almost
like.
more the season, though. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because Reggie
So
just being back.
no Reggie trade.
Is number 3?
Might be on this list. I don't know. I'm thinking through it. What about no backup center? Is that on this list?
It's on my list here. No backup center.
Okay.
You just go into next year, and it really is Zeke and Vlatko, and
Yeah, that'd
there's
be bad.
no plan. So
That'd
you
be
said no
kinda bad.
backup center. I think that might be it.
Above Reggie. Yeah, we can slot that there.
No backup center. It's just it's the exact same front court. Maybe no even DeAndre Jordan this year. It's just, hey, we don't have an option, Yoke.
For 4, can we just say still Reggie/Pickett?
We ran our guys into the ground, and we're actually going to trim the backup center depth.
Yeah. So you think Pickett being the only option to you would be considered catastrophic?
I'm trying to find the way to frame this. I don't want the point guard picture to look the way it did. I don't want it to be the same depth chart. Reggie, Pickett.
I see.
Colin, I guess, but he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
So you put Reggie on there if he's still here, because that would probably be it if Reggie was still on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, Reggie at backup point guard probably is on here.
And I don't want it to, again, like Reggie wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
and
he
it
wasn't.
It was good that he was as available as he was, even if he was overplayed. But it just feels like they've got to have a better plan A here. Is that
Yeah.
too greedy, or does that belong on this list?
I think it's fair. So you can say same backcourt,
Same backcourt,
or same
yeah.
point guards,
Same point
same
guards.
point guard situation. Same point guard situation. I think is probably right. And then I had one. My last one. You could pick between a couple of these. Flacco leaves for the Mavs, or like just leaves in general. Would suck, but it's not that consequential.
That'd
even
be
though
way
it would
worse
suck.
for us, it feels
It,
like.
it would be worse for us,
It would
probably.
really feel like everything's falling apart.
And then win throughout the absolute all-time worst one I've ever could have possibly imagined.
Justin Holiday on the taxpayer mid-level exception.
This was
Justin
like-
Holiday armed with a new agent.
This is what happened last year with the Reggie Jackson deal. Is you're like, oh, they brought Reggie Jackson back on a minimum. Wait, they gave him more than the minimum. The
I
MLE?
don't think that would happen.
I don't think it would either.
But he did sign with a new agency. Maybe he's trying for a 2-year deal. I don't think so. Again, if KCP leaves, I feel I would almost welcome Justin Holiday back. I feel like they kind of need the
Yeah, they would
shooting
need
there.
it there. I would say number 5 would just be no added pieces.
Yeah.
Outside of the draft, like it's literally just the run it back squad. Which, as much as I love Holiday,
Filipowski at 28.
man, that would. I mean, he's a center, so it would break this one. So you can just say total run it back. I think this is no added. There you go. No added pieces. There you go. That's the worst case scenario. Sadly, on the board, I think number 3 least likely. I think they'll have somebody who's a backup center.
I agree.
can we?
Of vet men.
They don't trade Zeke. Like I think they're going to trade him, but it does take 2 to tango.
I know. Like, could they trade him for Josh Giddey?
They add another pick for this draft.
Joking.
Oh God, they take
Joking.
2. They trade 1 to get 2. They actually have 3 picks.
Well,
and
I
they
mean,
take
we were
all of
talking
them.
about the 56th pick earlier. Like, that might just have to be attached to Zeke Naji.
Might
in a
have to
trade.
be. Yeah, it might have to be. Oh man, what if it comes out that order? They get my guy Mugbo. I'm pumped, but he's
We're
used to trade
sending him to the Thunder.
to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Or he's just
Conley!
definitely going to be good.
All right, let's take a break. We're gonna cleanse our palate. On the other side, best case scenario. Let's get rid of
Oh,
that.
thank God.
We're back.
A
That
lot,
was a very quick one.
a lot of people don't know this, guys. The Nuggets won 57 games this last season.
No.
True.
In their attempt to win their second straight title.
It's so true, man. A lot
No.
went well this year. They're not that far away.
It does feel like they are very far
I heard
away.
the window was closed.
Sometimes it feels that way.
Best case scenario now, guys. Don't forget, by the way, Wednesday, you're going to want to come down to the DNVR bar and join us. Sign up on the events page. You can show up at the door, but if you want to guarantee yourself getting in and everything, it also helps our bar staff, by the way. I'm told. This is what the bar is telling me. It helps our bar staff to prepare for that night. So do us a solid. Our bar staff is awesome, by the way. I honestly think we have the best bar staff in America. All homies.
Also,
Man, I thought I was going to get a ringing endorsement
No,
from the
we do.
fellows.
We do
over here.
have
I
a
got
great
nothing.
staff.
Wow.
I talk about them all the time. They're awesome. Also, the draft guide is dropping after this show is over, but it's only available for DNVR diehards.
That's right.
So you got to be a diehard. You can sign up thednvr.com. You can read the draft guide. We profiled 54 prospects, 1 through 54. And there's some, little intel in there who the Nuggets might be interested in, who we like. So it's a good read.
All right, best case scenarios here. Let's be honest. Number one is obvious. If number one was losing KCP, number one here for me would be retaining KCP on a team-friendly deal.
Yeah.
Some kind of deal that you were talking about earlier, maybe front loading or maybe attaching years. To me, that would be the ultimate. If it's when a player signs, it's always you're shocked at. It's rarely exactly what you thought. Shocked at how expensive it was. Shocked at how cheap it was. If we got wow, that was all it took to get KCP back.
Right.
Would be incredible.
We're not even putting opt-in to player option here, though, because it's just so unrealistic.
It's funny because that might actually be the best scenario. Just one more year.
Oh, it totally is the best scenario. Actually, would that be better than a 1+1?
Because then you could
can
trade.
Actually trade.
Yeah.
1+1 would probably be better.
Yeah. So keeping KCP, if that somehow happened, it would be incredible. All right, I'll go this way for number two. What's number two best thing that could happen?
It's finding a guy on a vet minimum who's a contributor.
Yeah, I think that's right.
At backup point guard.
So in free agency, added a contributor in free agency.
Yeah.
'Kay.
At backup center.
'Kay.
You add a guy on a vet min. Maybe he's quote unquote a ring chaser. Maybe he's priced out of the market a little bit. Maybe the cap space dries up and he goes to Denver and tries to rehab his value a la Bruce Brown.
Right.
And, this guy is in your top 8, top 9 of the rotation.
You're talking about a Dunn, maybe.
A Saric.
Saric could be there. So a player of that caliber. Do you agree with this vote?
Yeah, I do. I think you got to find some way to bring in someone that helps, someone on the, you know what? Maybe it would be fun to play in Denver.
Yeah.
This could work for me. It's worked for others. Pump my value back up, try to get some winning basketball under my belt. Look, this is best case scenario. So yes, somehow you improve through free agency, even through your restricted means here.
I think number three, I really like Holmes. I'm actually kind of optimistic about him. I know he's polarizing. There are people that don't like him at all. I think them getting Holmes would be intriguing to me. There's not that many players, to be honest with you, that if they drafted him, I would be pumped for. He's number one by far of the guys that are realistic, in their range, that I'd be like, you know what? I'm excited for that. I even said this on Locked On this morning. If they drafted Deron Holmes, he might be third of the prospects I'm most excited about behind Christian Brown and Peyton Watson.
So he'd be ahead of Strother for you, definitely ahead of Pickett.
Ahead of Strother, Pickett, and Hunter.
Yeah.
I think, just in terms of my own personal excitement and optimism.
I'd probably definitely put him behind Strother. I really like Strother. And just big men are tough for me, especially in Denver. But he's...
I kind of like him for that reason, though.
Yeah.
There are Jokic acolytes, or guys that you think could become Jokic acolytes, and guys who you think could not. He's one I think could.
And I've seen a lot of the Zeke Naji, Deron Holmes comps. The comps there stop at the measurements. He is a completely different player than Zeke Naji. He might be...
Nuggets fans are down so bad.
I know. They just see a big man, and they just automatically... Maybe it's the hair. I don't know. But...
I guess we did this with Hunter Tyson and those orange Clemson jersey. We're like, is this Tyler Lydon?
Deron Holmes right now might be more polished than Zeke Naji right now.
Well,
as an offensive player.
I saw you tweeted that out.
They're
I was
completely
like,
different.
They are completely different. I was thinking like, you said something like, he's more polished than Zeke was at the draft. He might even be more polished than Zeke is right now. I go, Zeke was more polished at the draft
I was
than
going
he
to
is
say,
right now.
yeah, Zeke was more polished.
But like Zeke Naji was a one and done,
Unpolished himself.
like rim rolling interior big man. Deron Holmes is a skilled post scorer.
Do you think this is it? Hunter Tyson, Tyler Lydon, orange unis, similar looking guys.
100%.
And then this is what Deron Holmes, red jersey, white and red jersey.
It's like I'm sure when we drafted Nurkic, people were like, "Oh, another Skeetish-Vili."
That's probably
That's exactly how it works. This is exactly
Or
how it works.
Jokic.
What else would be on the brightest timeline summer edition for you, vote?
Maybe this is too vague, but
Jalen Tyson.
upgrade backup point guard. It's sort of the opposite of what I said on the last one. This is the epitome of easier said than done, but is there a pick and Reggie and Zeke that can turn into ball handler X off the bench that you feel better about. That would feel good to me.
Okay.
Although it's also, I guess this could be done maybe through like a done type. So maybe this is too vague, but I would just say upgrading point guard.
Upgraded point guard, backup point guard. I think that's fair. Could that include, in the loose interpretation that you put here,
Backup point guard Tiff?
Upgraded backup point guard. Yeah, everyone's going to thank you.
It's a tough summer.
And then just put quote. Then put Brendan Votes.
Yeah.
That's his personal one. He's traded Jamal
Don't
Murray
do that.
for anyone. What could the wording here? Could it include Jalen Pickett? Just like being great, and you see it, and it's like, oh my god, I'm so excited. Or is that
That's
separate?
a season scenario, right?
Okay, yeah,
this
no,
is an off-season scenario.
Then let me complete the thing here.
Okay.
Summer League breakout star. I'm not going to say who it is. Could be the draft pick.
I mean, that might be number one, to be honest.
Could be Pickett. Could be Hunter Tyson.
Nothing gets us going like a summer league breakout.
I'm saying you get to Summer League, and it's the talk of Summer League. Have you guys seen Hunter Tyson? What that guy's doing? Have you seen? Actually, Hunter Tyson kind of did it.
That happened last year.
Happened last year. Didn't really
go
mean
and tear up
anything.
the G League too.
But I mean a real breakout, guys. I'm talking about a real.
like Julian Strawther wins tournament MVP.
Julian Strawther has a 40 piece. He shoots 48%. He's shows a little wiggle to his handle.
Would you rather get all summer league first team or a summer league championship?
Oh, a player for sure. Like the championship. By the time you get to the tournament, the guys aren't even playing their normal guys anymore.
Just want to get that down
Adonis
on paper.
Arms is scoring in the championship game.
Maybe if
interesting
they
build.
Raised a real banner, I'd get excited about the summer league banner. But now on the other side of it, that couldn't even keep Malone's
Hunter
job.
Tyson back to back first team all summer leagues.
That would be.
He's coming back for more.
It would be so bizarre. I think. So that's our board. Oh yeah. So Summer League breakout star. I will say.
I mean, are we for real with summer league breakout star?
You don't. Here's why I think it's important. Here's what.
We had one last year and he didn't play at all.
That was not necessarily a breakout star.
That was kind of a breakout.
I mean, Hunter Tyson made his shots last year. He was encouraged, but there was no point where we were like, this guy is going to be the contributor.
I don't know, man. We were pretty hyped.
No way.
We were pretty
I'm talking
hyped.
about you get a Pickett, you can tell the sophomore bump. A guy that you're like, you know what?
Okay.
How much have we seen of Pickett? How much have we seen of Hunter? How much have we seen of Julian Strawther since January 1st? We just haven't seen those guys. So what I'm saying is you see a guy 7 months later from when you previously saw them, and it's like, oh, that's tangible improvement. That guy looks now like one of the guys.
Yeah.
To me, that would
It
be
could be
encouraging.
that because if you have KCP, then you knock off the next one on that list. You get the veteran minimum guy. You don't really need any more guys after that.
Right.
You know, you got definitely 7 dudes. Christian Brown, that vet minimum guy. You got P-Watt. You're good there with a rotation. Then you can, get a little greedy with the Summer League guy.
Is this better or worse than Jamal Murray dominates the Olympics?
Worse.
So Jamal Murray dominates Olympics
Oh my
would be
God.
by far the best?
That would be number fucking
All right,
one.
I mean,
replace
actually,
it, Tim. Replace it. Hold
Jokic
on.
beating Team USA is...
Here's the thing. Jokic beating Team USA, we're rooting for that for personal interest. And because we want to see Jokic do well. But that wouldn't tell me like, oh, Jokic's going to have a big year next year because of this. I'd be like, Jokic's going to have a big year no matter what happens. Murray? All right, F it. Jokic and Murray dominate Olympics. I don't want the Serbs
What
mad
about
at
a
us.
Jalen Tyson, Hunter Tyson combo at the 2-3?
Oh, man, Tyson and Tyson?
Dude, if Murray has any sort of burst or lift or
He's just dunking
if
everything.
he just looks good at all, that's so easily my number one.
If he just plays.
Now, what if, let me throw this out at you. We talked about guys breaking out at Summer League. What if Peyton Watson goes to Summer League and absolutely balls out in a game? Because we've heard he might be going to Summer League for a game. Would that do anything for you?
Not really. Because I kind of know that I think he can be good.
And it's not like there's been that much time for him to work on his game since we last saw him. We just
True.
saw him 8 weeks ago.
Right.
It's not like in those 8 weeks he's oh my god he's he's a point guard now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it could or couldn't. It would be fun personally because I just love watching him play. It would be fun to watch him play a game out there, and it would be fun to give him a bunch of pick and rolls, throw some lobs to Duran Holmes. But
Yep.
I don't know if it really would mean
Or
anything.
some cuts off of Jalen Tyson.
All right, we have any super chats?
I bet Cedric super chat. Oh, he didn't. Wow. Egg on my face. Jared from Foco. Wind, congrats on the baby girl. I can now take solace that when I'm up at 2 a.m. with mine, you are doing the same. Excited for this week.
Yeah, man. You can definitely take solace with that.
Wind is up. Got a question
Thank you,
for the
Jared.
Nuggets?
I appreciate it.
Up late? Shoot Wind a tweet.
Yeah, I'm on
You should
Twitter.
start doing. You
Late
should
night
start doing
ask.
3 a.m.
3:30 AMA on Twitter.
Trying again, ask me anything.
Let's talk about the draft, baby.
Dude, that's awesome.
What about a Spaces? Maybe,
maybe
little
Spaces?
Nugget Spaces at 3:30 a.m.
Yep.
Bashir Daoud Harrison, could we draft KJ Simpson in the second round?
He's a second round guy, kind of the scorer, quick point guard that the Nuggets kind of need at that position. Probably not. Probably not though. I like KJ Simpson though. I think he'll catch on somewhere.
I do too. I like some of those Buffs guys, man. Ulysses Ventura, OG Anunoby declined his player option. Is he an option if KCP walks?
No,
Can't.
unfortunately, way too much money.
By the way, guys, it's a fun other look, at the other side of not paying your young stars or young players that you like early. Then you get to the are they going to stick around? How much do
Right.
they want?
He's
How
going
much
back
do
to
they?
the Knicks.
I know. I'm just saying,
Might bleed him though.
OG,
Right.
is now in contract talks, and there were some unavailability problems, and just saying.
Also, I just love the idea of the Nuggets roster being Michael Porter, OG Anunoby, Jamal Murray, just all guys that odds of playing 60 or more games is like
Nobody gets
12%.
hurt all the
Constantly.
time.
I'm just saying.
Why not do it? I guess it's time. All right, hit that outro music for us. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. One more warm-up show before our draft show on Wednesday. Grab your popcorn you're going to want to watch, or better yet, come down to the DNVR bar. We'll butter the popcorn for you right here as you watch for hours. Beyond the cam, we're going to have a bar cam the entire time. We want to hear what you guys are reacting to in real time. It's going to be a great night. Hit the like button on the way out. Draft Guide drops now. Go check it out.
We all silly like the mayor.